everything's happening during the pandemic. Here we are all going through so much, but what we are really honed in on this week, as you know, is this next stimulus package. All eyes are on Washington right now. What is going to be decided? As we know, the Democrats already passed the House with their pandemic stimulus package, but now we're waiting for the GOP, for Republicans to come to the Senate with their plan, and hopefully they can get to a point where there's sort of a happy medium and we can get money to Americans sooner rather than later. We want to talk about what we know so far. So here's what we know so far. Of course, nothing's been signed, so nothing's for sure, nothing's in writing. What we do know so far is that $1,200 relief check that many of you received in the first round in the CARES Act is actually coming back. So there's going to be another round of $1,200 disbursements for Americans, and if you're married, it should be double, it should be $2,400. If your income is under the levels of $75,000, if you're independent, and if you're married, then it's $150,000. Now, as you increase in value in income, as you get closer to $99,000 of income, then at that point you probably won't be receiving a stimulus check. In addition, you're also going to be getting, if you're under $75,000 in terms of income, you'll also be receiving up to $500 per dependent. Now, they had in the CARES Act, the dependent rule was that the dependent had to be under the age of 17. Not this time. This time, Republicans have stated that they're comfortable as long as they're a legal dependent, then you can receive up to $500. So that's some good news. We'll see how that fares. Now, the other portion that a lot of us are all paying attention to is the $600 unemployment enhancement that ceases to exist on July 31st, and what that's going to look like. Now, if you remember, the Democrats already passed in the House that $600 per week relief to continue until the end of the year. So Republicans were saying originally that they definitely didn't want to continue that $600 per week because it prevented Americans from wanting to go back to work. Because we've seen the numbers. It shows that those who are unemployed, when they receive that $600 enhancement, 2/3 of those who are unemployed actually make more money being unemployed than going back to work. So certain politicians definitely didn't want that because they said, well, that will keep you from going out to find another job, finding work, to being productive. So they definitely didn't want to encourage that. Instead, their HEALS Act, and let me tell you about the HEALS Act. The HEALS Act stands for Health, Economic Assistance, Liability Protection, and Schools Act. This is the GOP proposal on the Stimulus Act. It's called the HEALS Act. So the HEALS Act says that the unemployment enhancement will go up to 70% of what your previous income was, thereby still giving you relief during this very difficult time, but not so much that it covers your full income or above, so that way you still have an encouragement to try and find work either online or in a safe situation, or when it's safe that you can go back to work. So that's what they're talking about. That is the big thing. Now, I think many of us should feel good about that. The reason is because originally they were talking about dropping that to $100 a week, and then it was $200 a week, but now it's going up to $500, up to 70% of your previous income. So that's certainly an improvement. In addition, previously they said they would only give stimulus checks or benefits to those who had income under $40,000 per year. But we saw that with the $1,200 check, that stimulus check goes and continues with those who earn up to $75,000. I think that's really helpful, especially since different parts of the country, different cities, different states have different standards of living. And there's certainly people who are over 40,000 who could certainly use help. So I think 75,000 is a good point to be. I would have liked it to be more state city specific. Bear in mind there's areas up in Northern California as well as New York where 75,000 isn't quite the same as other cities that have a different standard of living, right? That where housing is less expensive and everything else. So I think it would have been good to have some sort of customization, but obviously that would just be too much. And given how dire a need so many Americans are, there just wasn't enough to make this perfect. not enough time to make it completely customizable, but they're just trying to find a solution that solves most of the problem. Well, thank you so much for watching, and as a quick reminder, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Winnie's Son TV and turn on that golden notification button so you'll be the first to know anytime a new video drops. Take care now.